Welcome to Education Transformation, where we explore the future of learning, one rooted in curiosity, creativity, and the whole human experience. Today's conversation is one I've been especially excited about. Our guest is Deborah Myers, educator, wellness expert, and the creator of the daily Clean Your House Flow. She is a best-selling author and trainer. Her award-winning work helps children, parents, and educators understand how their bodies and brains function so they can feel better, focus better, and flourish in life and school. Deborah's story is powerful, and her tools are practical and grounded in something we care deeply about at Always Meaningful Education: neuroeducation and whole child learning. So, hello, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining us here on Education Transformation. I'm very excited for our audience to get to know you and your work a bit more.
Thank you. And I appreciate you asking me. I'm honored that I get to be here with you, Alexandra. Thank you.
Thank you. So, let's just start with if you could take us back, if there was a moment when all of this began for you, like what inspired. First, we can tell the audience that you've created this daily Clean Your House flow, and I did mention it in your introduction. So maybe you can just briefly explain that to them, and that if you could take us back in time to when this was born within you and how has it evolved over the years?
Ooh, thank you. So the daily Clean Your House flow is a 9-step self-help acupressure flow that I wrote probably 27 years ago. And I had started my private practice and was immediately giving self-help guidance to my clients because I wanted people to be able to leave their time with me and be able to go home and keep the energy flowing. Because it's one thing to receive and experience it, but then to be able to foster the continuance of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that each and every person has the ability to do the work for themselves. We just need to be shown a technique that's easy to learn, easy to remember, and easy getting around to doing because the benefits are noticeable. So
Yes.
out of all that time with guidance, I wrote the Daily Clean Your House Flow, which is a 9-step. And I call the Daily Clean Your House Flow because your body is your house. And if you
Mm.
clean it out every day, give it a darn good vacuuming, get rid of those dust bunnies and cobwebs. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, the body has the opportunity to have a firm foundation. And then
Mm.
everything else we do for ourselves that are of good and of benefit will be that much more received and accepted by the body as a gift to the body.
Mm.
Because then the body says, okay, we're in this together. And it wants to be taking care of you.
Mm.
The trick is to take care of it so that there is this partnership that allows the body to recognize the phenomenal opportunities it has. And so out of that daily Clean Your House flow, and all of that came to be because when I was in college in the 70s, that's dating me, I was introduced to energy medicine. And I took to it like duck to water, but I never thought, it never even was an inkling that I would do it for my livelihood.
Mm.
Why would you do something like that? I mean, you couldn't get paid for touching people. And but I recognized that what I was learning and experiencing could be utilized no matter what I was going to be up to. So
Mm.
and I took it for myself. So it wasn't being I recognized I was having conversation with myself about it. This isn't about being selfish. This is being about conscious of self,
Mm.
being
Wow.
aware and being conscious of what the body's requesting.
I love
And so I just kept learning and experiencing da 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 da, and I just couldn't quit.
it.
No matter what I was doing, I wore a lot of different hats through the years. I was a probation officer. I am a trained mediator. I was a counselor with kids in group homes coming out of training schools. I mean, wore so many different hats, including being a real estate broker, owner of my own company, insurance and securities agent, all sorts. I tell you. And then in 1993, I was in a really bad car accident.
Oh.
And I had major injuries, but I refused surgery. And I said, I know what I need to receive. And I went searching for someone who would do light, gentle touch because I knew that's what my body needed. I'd already been doing all my own energy work. I always did. And I felt the body wanting to receive more.
Mm.
Relatively new to this area, I found someone. And as my body really started healing in conjunction with my energy self-help, the light bulb came on saying, girl, you know it, just do it. Just do it. And so I closed up my insurance and securities office, and that was it. So
Wow.
that's when I started my practice. And then a couple years later is when I wrote the Daily Clean Your House Flow.
Okay.
And then it was years later when some of my clients who were teachers were taking what, and they'd taken my workshops, were taking what I taught them into the classroom.
Mm.
And they came back to me saying, will you just teach a real program? And I go, well, because they said it works.
Oh, that's
We're
exciting.
noticing changes for the individual students, for the group at large, the collective. It was
Mm.
working it was just working. It was helping collectively with emotional stability and being
Mm.
aware and focus and clarity and productivity. It just was working.
Wow.
Out of that, one of my clients was a major, beautiful artist, heard what I was up to and said, well, let's create an animated video of the Daily Clean Your House Flow. So that's how the animated video came to be.
And
And then
it's
out
such
of
a good,
that came my productive mindfulness school program. So that's kind of a snippet.
wow. And the video is really awesome. I've been using it and sharing it with AME students as well. So
Excellent.
thank you for that. And if we just could touch a little bit on, so I understand really the teachers were the ones first who, as far as education is concerned, who got to experience it for themselves, and then they saw the personal benefits and wanted their children to experience it. For you, were there any surprises that when you first started introducing it to children, or even through a teacher sharing with you, was there anything that surprised you, or anything like a real confirming moment where you were like, yes, this is
Mhm.
needed?
Oh, you hit a good one. um, Way before the school program came to be, I had always worked with kids. Oftentimes it was the parent who recognized that um, their child could really benefit from what they were receiving and learning.
Mm.
Um, Whether it was emotional support or whether there was, well, I ended up working with a lot of kids with learning challenges. That's what we
Mm.
called it back then, learning challenges. And there were several kids I worked with that it was such a phenomenal experience. They came in with being on the spectrum and having behavioral issues and on and on. And it was phenomenal how their bodies reacted to receiving the energy flow balancing, and then how they took to being willing to do self-help,
Mm. Wow.
which was huge.
Yes.
I mean, here's a child, maybe, well, one was only 6 years old.
Mm.
I actually started with him when he was 4. And it was about when he was 6 that everything just started really hitting home for him. And
Mm.
then there was another child who was about 8 when I started with them. And it was this huge experience for them of recognizing that they could make a difference for themselves. There was a story of one of the kids that the parent came to me and told me he was in a classroom, like must have been like 6 years old at that point, and he recognized when he needed to have time to just be and experience his body. He would walk over to his spot in a quiet spot and start doing the daily clean your house flow.
Wow. That is so powerful to see that kind of
Oh,
self-regulation,
oh, it
awareness.
was so beautiful. And then there was one time when that young man walked in for his session, and he was like 10 at that point, 11. He's now, by the way, gone through college and everything else. He's phenomenal. He blow my socks, let me tell you.
Oh, wow.
He he walked in, and at that point he was still having a hard time talking about feelings.
Mm,
Some For some folks, it's hard to figure out feelings. They're hard to describe. They're hard to put words to if you don't know how to put the words to them.
mhm,
It's one comes before the other, right?
mhm,
And he walked in. I could feel there was consternation. There was angst. I
mhm.
said, "So what's going on?" And out of the conversation came up that he'd had an experience at school, and it wasn't about him. It was about one of his peers, what he'd been experiencing, and the how other students were treating him. And he
Mm,
was almost beside himself as he started talking about it. I said, "How does that make you feel?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Let's put some words to it." And I don't usually like delving into that extent, but it was like we needed to discover. Well, what came out was that he was so frustrated by what he had seen his friend experiencing, and he was taking it on.
right. Wow. Very
And
sensitive,
so,
empathetic person, yeah.
yeah, and what he recognized is that what he could do is the jumper cables, which is the ninth step in the daily clean your house flow, the one where you cup
Yeah.
each thumb and finger, couple good breaths, and it helps to balance all emotions because it connects with all the energy that enters and exits your body. And it helps to balance emotions. I'm not saying emotions are bad because it's what helps us be human. It helps us connect to the feelings, and it's the feelings that give us the information about the
Yes.
emotions, right? And that's what was happening. So I said, "So let's just do our jumper cables together again." And I said, "How's that experience?" And as soon as he got to his middle finger, he said, "Okay, Deborah, I got it. I'm breathing." He recognized in that moment what that
Mm,
experience had done to his breath. It had taken his breath away. It had left him with such a way of
mm,
being in his body that it felt like well, my words, he was waiting with bated breath. He was waiting for
mhm.
the next shoe to drop, right? Because you know what that finger's about? Frustration, anger. When you do your jumper cables, it helps you get rid of worry fast, FAST, fear, anger, sadness, trying to.
Oh,
And what he had experienced was the anger,
yeah.
the frustration, the irritation. You know what came out of his mouth that was just absolutely beautiful beyond measure?
What?
He said, "Oh, so all this means that when I have something going on and I feel my breath not being what I need it to be, it could be this thing you called feeling." This thing you called
Mm.
feeling. I said, "Uh-huh." And he said, "So if I do this, wow, does that mean that if I don't experience," his words, "if I don't experience frustration, I won't experience anger. And
Mm.
if I don't experience anger, I won't experience rage." His words. And I said, "You got it.
Incredible.
You got it." And he says, "Oh, everybody should know this."
Wow.
And what I found out later was he went back to school the next day and sat down with his friends and spent time showing them
Mm.
what to do so they didn't have to experience what they'd been dealing with.
Oh my God. Wow.
Isn't that's the power that we can give to ourselves to then give to others.
Yes.
when we just experience the possibility of what it's like to walk around in a body that's energetically balanced and in harmony.
Mm, wow. That's really amazing. I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about how the acupressure brings about things like awareness and self-agency and emotional regulation and resilience, but the example that you just shared explains all of that. And these are things that are so near and dear to me, and in Always
Mhm.
Meaningful Education, we're trying to empower kids, right? We are giving them the tools to live their best lives.
Yes,
Like you said in the beginning, it's better to give them the tools than to have them, or maybe it was the conversation we had before. Instead of trying to get clients to continuously come back to you, you are equipping and empowering them so that they don't need to come back. And
exactly.
I just love that. So,
Thank you. I even had, that brings to mind, I had a client once, this is quite a while back, an older gentleman and new to the experience. And at the end, I'm showing him the daily clean your house flow because I want people to know that what they can do for themselves. And he says, "Excuse me." I go, "What?" He goes, "Why are you teaching me this?" I said, "So you have something to utilize if you decide to do so, that, and I'll give you a print version so that you can take it home with you." He says, "But why?" I said, "Because you can do it if you want to." He says, "But if this works so well and I don't need to come back, you're losing money." I said,
oh,
That's fine." And he looked at me and I said, "This is about you having the opportunity to have a healthy, vibrant
mm,
body."
whew,
Well, he kept coming back.
yes. It's great. So it's working for all ages then, right? There
All
is no
ages.
age limit on this,
In
which is
fact, my oldest client right now is 98 years old. And you know
oh,
what her contention is? That because of doing the daily clean your house flow, she was never going to be a couch potato, and she hasn't been.
oh, wow. I know I wanted to mention to the audience in the intro, it's only coming to me now that if people knew how old you were, they would all be on board with this program.
Should I tell him how old I am? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, do it because it's amazing.
Well, thank you for that. I'm 72 years old. I'll turn
Oh,
73 in a few months. Go figure.
there, there's really that inspires me and fills me with hope. So thank you.
And I'm out there in the world. I do a lot of gardening, a lot of work. I live on a piece of property makes me work, and that's okay.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the school and home connection.
Okay.
I know you've worked closely with schools. Could you talk a little bit about what it looks like when the practices are integrated into a school
Um,
routine, or even what changes maybe you've observed with focus, behavior, or readiness to learn?
I love it. Thank you. So when I created the school program, I decided I wanted to make sure that the whole community called the school gets all the information at one time. So
Awesome.
when and I don't force it, of course, because some schools, all they can do is the school assembly. The Productive Mindfulness School program has three components. It's an in-person school assembly, a workshop for the teachers, and a workshop for the parents. I love teaching the teachers first, showing them what this is all about so that they can kind of contemplate before the school assembly when the kids get introduced to it all. And then the school assembly itself, and then here comes the parent workshop, which is oftentimes virtual, usually. And the whole family gets invited, including the children if they want to attend. And there's a lot of them who do after the school assembly because they want to learn more.
Mm.
And that's another beautiful piece because I've got him on the Zoom screen and I'm watching him, right? And here's this 10-year-old sitting next to his mom, and he goes, "Oh, wait, mom, do this. This is the one that really works. This is the one I was telling you about." So what I notice is that when this program comes into play, yes, it's about helping the students have clarity and focus and productivity and awareness, mindfulness, and opening up their thinking to recognize they can be a success at whatever they want to do and whoever they want to be.
Well, thank you
So
for.
I start with, like at the school assembly, showing them, I have props that show them that everything's energy. A plant, a lamp that doesn't have energy until you turn on the light bulb, right? A flashlight that doesn't show its energy until you turn it on. I mean, all these, but the plant is a plant, but it's going to do even better with the energy of the sun and the energy of the, and to have the kids participate in the conversation about these props is beautiful. Now, I got to admit that when I bring out my lightsaber, that really brings up conversation. They go, whoa. I said, okay, folks, as I start bringing it up, this is my toy and I've decided to share it with you. And this is, and I start the sounds, and oh my goodness, that
Oh, instant engagement, I'm sure.
even with the fifth grade boys, just saying.
Oh, I bet. I bet most with the fifth grade boys.
It is so fun. And I made the comment, just like I just did a program on Wednesday morning, and I said, I'm probably the biggest kid on the block because this is one of my most favorite toys that I pull out frequently to just play with.
I love it.
So I'm showing the props, I'm bringing in, and the first thing I talk about is all these things that you're looking at are energy. Your body is energy as well. And we can use these things called fingertips that you walk around with 24/7. We get to learn how to make use of these to access the energy in your body, to be able to make a difference physically, mentally, and emotionally. And when you give yourself that gift, you're offering yourself the possibility, the probability that whatever you're searching for is going to be more available. So then I start talking about, yeah, how many of you study? Oh, right. Well, when you are studying, would you like to do it easier? That'd be
Mhm.
better, right? You
Yes.
might get the reactions you want better. You might get the results. Yeah. So we talk about studying and test taking and everything like that. I said, but then how about sports? How many of you like sports? Okay, hands raised. I start listing them off, right? And then I say, well, I work with professional baseball players. And no matter what our age is and what we're up to in our professions, people will make use of what I'm showing you right now. So why not get an early start? If you want to do something better, let's do it this way. And I
Mm,
show them the daily clean your house flow and the steps that they can be used individually.
wow.
And then, yeah, and then I bring in the big one that really gets their attention is the video games.
Oh, of course. That's not
But
surprising.
like I said, whatever you do, you enjoy.
Yes.
You want to enjoy it more. Do you want to do it better? Do you want to win? Do you want to succeed?
Mm,
Let's help you be a success at whatever you want to do.
wow.
And as soon as it really starts clicking, they get back. And I keep going back to studying and testing. I keep going back to this and that. And at the same time, writing a paper, being on stage and speaking a script, singing a song, playing the piano, playing soccer, rock climbing, whatever you want to do. Holding that bat and hitting the ball right on and putting it all the way out into the outfield. Whatever you want to do it better.
Wow. With their energy, right? Because where I like to tell students, where your energy, where your attention goes, energy flows. And when we align, the head, the heart, the gut with our actions, we become like superhuman, right?
Yes. And we're superhuman and we can become superheroes.
Oh, I
This
love
is the time to be your own superhero.
that.
So I said, when I bring up the lightsaber, it's all, this is your opportunity
Mm.
to be the hero you want to be. The force be with you.
Yes. Yes. So I love that. I really can understand from a neuroscience perspective too how these kinds of visuals that you're bringing into the classroom experience for the kids, you know, that neuroscience tells us that our eyes like to follow motion and it keeps our attention. So instead of standing in front of the kids lecturing, right, you're giving them these real tangible examples and bringing the lightsaber in, and all of that is deepening their engagement so that they can really be aligned with the practice and feel the benefits of it.
Exactly. For instance, when I'm talking about whether it's playing a video game or studying or taking that test, if they just hold the backs of their heads right at the base of their skull,
Mhm.
that connects with consciousness and awareness. And I say that. And when you come to here, that connects with memory and focus and clarity. Put the two together, and all
Mm,
of a sudden you have them working together. They're energy balance points that want to cooperate with each other. They want to help you do everything you want to do and do it how you want to do it.
that's a wonderful example.
Yeah, and it's just that simple. And so then I play the animated video, and I bring in then that, hey, last week I was with your teachers and I was showing them this and showing them a whole lot, and we're going through a whole lot of information. So if you have any more questions, your teachers have some answers.
Mm,
So I kind of bring them out saying,
awesome.
okay. And I said, all of your teachers have access to the animated video.
Mm.
Your whole classroom can watch this together and find out what it's like, not just for each person, but the whole classroom doing this together. And
I
next week, I'm going to be with your parents, and you can come too if you want to. It's a Zoom meeting, and you can be there and you can experience even more information. You want to learn more? You get to learn more. This is not just for the adults, this is for you.
And kids love to feel included that way.
Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful.
Mm. I really appreciate too your how you approaching the teacher first in a lot of this because right, if the teachers get it and there's buy-in, then they're gonna be able to sell it down, down, if you will. It's not really an up and down, but you know what I mean,
I know exactly what you mean.
to
Yes.
their parents and in the other direction to administrators. And it's really important that the teachers understand it and experience the value of it, and then it's just gonna run.
Oh, it's blossoming. It's
Yes,
like this.
blossoming.
One of the props I bring in is a plant, and I always try to bring in one that has a lot of flowers. So they recognize that the more blossoms you get, the more availability you have to shine. Just bring yourself to shining, right?
And this energy too that you were talking about, how you flip the switch, how you turn the light flashlight, or you turn the lightsaber on, how this flow is a way for them to sort of turn themselves on, right?
Exactly. And
They
the very first step of the daily clean your house flow, I said, this could be your new best friend, is to give yourself a hug. That's
yeah.
the very first step. When you give yourself a hug, holding your elbows or your upper arms, there's no wrong because there's no right. You
Mm,
cannot do this wrong. Just light, gentle touch, find the point you want to hold, the area, and breathe. And just breathe.
mm.
That connects with respiratory and with heart. It's also connecting with energy balance points along the whole back of the body. And it's connecting in such a way that one of the main acupressure points, right at the midline of the shoulder blade,
Wow.
brings limitless life power,
Oh,
opens up the
I love it.
information,
Oh,
the sensations that are helping your senses be there for you.
wow. That's
Yeah.
so powerful.
When you do this, and I don't have to go through that full explanation with them, I'm just saying, be your own best friend.
Mm,
Give yourself a love because this is showing you have compassion for self. This is taking care of self. This is being conscious of self. It is not selfish. It's
mm,
conscious. It's being aware. That's
yes.
the first step. And then I get them to giggling because the next step of the daily flow is sitting on your hands. So I'll say, so when you do when you watch the video that's coming up, the next step after this is sitting on your hands. You want me to do what? Right? Well, that is an energy point that's all about vitality, giving yourself a boost. So if this brings breath in, bring your hands to your sit bones, and all of a sudden your whole body experiences. And notice right off the bat, folks, if you're doing this right here and now, that it changed your posture.
Ah,
Feel
okay.
that? It opened up the
Yes, it
lumbar spine,
does.
and it created extension along your spinal column and created
Mm,
even more alignment. And
yeah.
all of a sudden your body
Even my
has
shoulders feel a
your
little bit
shoulders
more
come
down.
down.
Hmm.
Yep. So
Nice.
this opens up the neck. This happens to be a point that's all about its tendency to be a garbage collector.
Ah,
So
yeah,
all of a sudden
lymphatic.
the body has, so this whole daily clean your house flows, and I hope you all try it because it's a fun time. If I say so myself, it will help your body let go of accumulation of blocked energy. That's what this is all about.
Mm,
Let go of the accumulation so your body can create new patterns. Your body is an energy body. The energy wants to move. It does not like being stuck. And in fact, it hates stuckness.
hmm.
So help yourself be out of stuckness and get into movement.
And Deborah, can people find the Clean Your House Flow on deborahmyerswellness.com, or is there a different place they can search for it?
It's right there. And it's
Awesome.
Deborahmyers, not MEY, MYERS dot wellness.com.
Okay.
And at the bottom of each page, there's a tab that says get this Stress Buster video here. And all you have
Mm.
to do is put in your name and email address, and it's yours as a gift. Now, yes, that means you will be on my list. And if you decide you don't want to stay on my list, fine. But just know that by being on my list, you'll get consistently information, suggestions,
Mm.
energy tips. You'll get notification of upcoming workshops. In fact, I have one coming up on May 21st. Go
Yes.
to my website. It's a free workshop, allergy action plan.
I love it. I'm
Yeah,
on the list and I received the invitation and I've shared it already with some allergy sufferers in my life. So
excellent.
thank you for doing
And the
that.
information I'll be giving goes way beyond allergies. That's kind of the theme, but it
Mm.
helps with respiratory, digestive, uh,
General wellness, yeah?
yeah, just being. Yeah,
Being, being your
yeah,
best version.
yeah.
Well, can you talk to me a little bit about anything that's ahead, any upcoming initiatives or collaborations that are going on in your life?
Oh, well, I want to be doing more and more of the school programs.
Yes.
It floats my boat. It just really floats my boat. And the school that I'm currently doing the program at here in Sonoma County, California, is the school district. The Santa Rosa City School District has acknowledged my program, which is
Wow.
amazing. And it means that each individual school in the district has been given the go-ahead that it's acceptable to the school board, which is sounds like,
Congratulations.
thank you. It sounds kind of silly, like you got to go that route, but hey, it doesn't create the funding. So we still have each school has to go through that, but I
Mm,
think it's pretty affordable, to tell you the truth. And so my goal, my vision is to have uh, the schools in that school district really open themselves up to the opportunity for their students and their families and their educators, and
mm,
that others do as well. That acknowledgement from that school district gets recognized by others and spreads. Now, if you're out of my area, it's okay. You can still access, because part of my other vision is to create this as a complete virtual program. So, for instance, as I do these programs, I video them, and when I get really good footage, my expectation is to have the school assembly be videoed as part of the package, if you will.
mhm.
The Then there'd be the teacher's workshop and the parents' workshop, which are already virtual, but make it a recording package. It can either be then a package, or it can be we want you to create it for us.
Okay.
So then we would have a conversation about what that looks like. So that's my dream, because I want more and more schools. And I say schools, but it's available for everybody, as you and I both know, that if you're a homeschooler parent and you're saying, what are you talking about schools about for? I don't have, my kids aren't in school. Well, then it's okay. I'm betting that you bring your children to meetings, to activities, to wherever, to gather new and more information, to experience camaraderie with their peers. So it's a way of bringing this information in. Everything about what I teach works at home.
Mm-hmm.
So in
And
fact, in fact, a quick story, if I may.
sure, please.
So after one of the schools I had the program at, I was in line at a store one day and waiting for the checker, and all of a sudden I hear my name, and here's a mom in front of me talking to her kiddo, and she bends down, she goes, Joey, that's Deborah. She's the one that did the daily clean your house flow.
Oh, wow.
And I look up, and this kid looks at me and goes, that's you? And I go, yeah, do you like it? He goes, oh, I love it. I said,
Hmm.
and I said, that's how often do you do it? He goes, well, every day. It is the daily flow. And then I said, well, that's awesome. I'm glad you're making use of it. And he told me we talked about what school he was at and where he'd been receiving the information. And I said, but he says, I actually do it more than that, Deborah. I go, okay. He says,
Mm.
I do it in the morning when I wake up. Okay. He says, because I remember you saying there's no such thing as too much self-help. And he
Oh,
says, and my classroom does it together when we start school. We've decided as a classroom we want to do it after recess, after lunch. So they do it then as well. He says,
oh.
if I go home and I'm having trouble studying, I'll do it again. And I always do it before bed. I said,
Oh.
that's a lot. He goes, well, it works. I said, well, tell me what you're noticing that it's
That's,
doing for you, why you decided to do it that much.
mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, he looks down at his feet. He goes, well, um, I'm studying better, so I'm getting better grades, right, Mom? She nods. He goes, um, I'm I'm not sick anymore, so I'm not missing any school.
Wow.
Wow, now that's awareness, right?
That
And then he
is.
goes, I'm playing a better game of soccer, so why wouldn't I do it? Okay,
Oh
and this
my
is just a couple months
goodness.
after he started the program, by the way, folks. And
Incredible.
then, and then he looks up and he goes, and what's really crazy is I'm getting along better with my brother.
Wow.
So
Oh,
he hit every piece in that quick little conversation: physical, mental, emotional. He got them all.
for a young human to be so aware of
Right.
themselves and the impact.
Yeah. What was beautiful is his mom had noticed the difference,
Mm,
and that was when it was still a purchasable product, right? As a video.
exactly.
She purchased it to have it at home because she knew from his reactions that he needed to have it at home.
Wow, it's really exciting.
So that's why I brought it up, folks, is that if you're a homeschooler family, you can do this at home as much and with your core groups of people you hang out with for families, for your students. Whatever you approach you are making for your education experience with your family, please consider using what I've told you as a way to get from where you are to where you and your students want to be,
Wow.
because anything's possible. Just like I told those kids on Wednesday morning at the school assembly, each and every one of you deserve to succeed.
Mm.
Whatever you want to do,
Yes.
whoever you want to be, whatever you want to be better at, whatever you want to shine at, make use of taking care of yourself to discover how you can get there.
Wow, Deborah, really your work is so in alignment with the essence of always meaningful education, helping kids to be self-aware and grounded and ready to contribute. I'm so grateful. And we in always meaningful education framework, we always start with self-care. So I have been sharing that with my clients who work with students, with homeschool families, with hybrid programs, and in asking them to please include that in our self-care, which we already had some tools, like we were exploring, we've been exploring tapping and yoga and qigong and things like that. All of this stuff is connected in a way, but your clean the house flow brings this, it brings it to the animated video, I want to say, makes it so easy for a child to really understand it and feel like they can do it for themselves, which is really what we want for kids, right? I mean, anybody of any age, but certainly we want
Right.
children to feel like they can do it all by themselves, like that little boy, and to have these
Exactly.
wonderful experiences.
Exactly. And to what they start recognizing, and adults recognize it sometimes later than the kids themselves. He says, "Well, I do that one all the time." They just start recognizing that it makes sense to give themselves a hug. It makes sense. One of the points is to cup the calves of your legs
Mm.
in the daily flow. And that there's one child that says, that just makes me feel so grounded. His words.
Wow.
So, they just start recognizing the possibilities. And then to be able to utilize what we're talking about before, during, after any activity. This doesn't necessarily take the place of all the other good things you're doing for yourself, but it'll help prepare your body for whatever you might be asking it to do. Whether
Yes.
it's yoga, whether it's exercise, taking a hike, bicycling, riding a horse, I
Mm.
mean, whatever it might be, out in the garden, vacuuming, you name it.
That's a very good point. This is the turning on switch, right? So
Exactly.
anything that follows it is going to have more energy flowing towards it.
Thank you. Exactly. I start every single day doing the daily flow. I end every day doing it. And that's why I love showing it so people have that experience. And so, with that in mind, there's always more to learn. So, I'm always offering workshops like the one coming up, and just, stay in tune. If something pops onto your screen that says, oh, I want to try that, then do it. And if you'd like to experience more about what I'm talking about and you just have some questions, reach out. You can go to my um, make an appointment slot, book appointment,
Okay, great.
and set up for a consult. We'll have a conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you for
Thank you.
clarifying that and suggesting it. That's really fantastic. I encourage everyone to do the same. I have really enjoyed my time with you, Deborah.
Yeah.
So is there anything you would like to leave? We've told them they can go to deborahmyers.wellness.com and MYERS. They can access the Clean Your House Flow, book an appointment with you. You're also a best-selling author. Where can they find out about the books that you have written?
On the media page.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And from via my website, you can get copies of these books through Amazon.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Okay. And what you'll notice on the website as well is I am blessed to be able to say I'm the recipient of the President's Lifetime Achievement Award for last year.
Wonderful. Deborah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Feels nice when our life's work is recognized, and yours definitely deserves to be. So you deserve all of that and more.
Thank you. Thank you. I have loved being here with you. I'm so blessed that you reached out and wanted to have this time with me, because you can tell, folks, that I love sharing this information. And I love it even more when I get to have an experience like I'm having with Alexandra. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
doing
much.
in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Until next time.
Yes,
Wow.
please. Let's do it again.
We will. Thank
Okay.
you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye. I so appreciate Deborah and her work. As we reimagine education for the diversity of humanity, voices like Deborah's show us what's possible when we bring nervous system awareness, embodiment, and self-care into the learning journey. If you're curious about how AME integrates these principles into daily learning, visit amerevolution.org, connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, or with Always Meaningful Education on Facebook. Until next time, stay curious.